Hello teachers, good to be with you again. We're talking today about Doctrinal Mastery Review number 4. And this week we've been talking about the skill of praying for our students by name. And for me, this is a really powerful principle. That as we're preparing our lessons, as we're saying our prayers each day, that we're including our students by name in our prayers and seeking Heavenly Father's guidance and revelation about how to best minister to and meet the needs of these individual students. So it's really one of the most important things we can do. It's unseen. Your students won't necessarily know that you do that. I don't know that if I've ever told students that I pray for them by name, but it really does help us focus. And one of the ways that I think it can help is that we all have those go-to students in our classes, the ones who raise their hand quickly, and when there's a long pause and no one's saying anything, they kind of sit up and say an answer. And so we really love those students. And it's nice to have those people that you can count on with an answer. But sometimes there's a lot of other needs in the class. And in the process of teaching a lesson and thinking about our next question and where we're going to go with the activity or the scriptures, and so there's a lot to think about. And as we're doing all that presenting of the lesson, sometimes we forget about some of these individual students that really need our attention. So as you're praying for students by name, one thing that I like to do is make sure that I've included each student in a meaningful way in the lesson. And so maybe I'm just going to make a note of it. So if I've got 5 students, this is going to be easy. I'm just going to write in my notes simple ways to involve those 5 students in the lesson. A little harder if you have 12 or 15 students, but it's still doable, and it's a really important skill. So an example of this, I'll show you here in this Doctrinal Mastery Review number 4. So this lesson just reviews the 11 Doctrinal Mastery scriptures and key phrases. And so there's a printout sheet here that has all 11 on it. If your students haven't seen this, it's a great time to give it to them so they're kind of holistically looking at the Doctrinal Mastery scriptures and memorizing the reference with the key phrase. So that's here and it can be printed out. And then there's this activity where you're going to apply the truths taught in the Doctrinal Mastery scripture passages to real life situations. So that's how this review is going to work, and that's what we're going to do with this lesson. So down here you'll see after these references that you want to help the students practice applying the Doctrinal Mastery scriptures. So you're going to come up with just some scenarios. Your friend asks you, what is so important about Jesus Christ? So then, guys, what scripture would we use in this situation? A friend begins to learn about the gospel and they ask, why do I need to be baptized? Can't I just be a good person? Okay, friends, what scripture would work good in this situation? Then ask them why. And it talks about that right here. Invite students to explain why they chose that reference. Other students could then be asked to share additional reasons why they feel that scripture passage would be helpful in that scenario, or they could share a different one. So you kind of want to go around and get as many different thoughts about how to apply these Doctrinal Mastery scriptures. And that's where praying for our students by name and then making sure that we've got each student saying something can really help. So if I've got a quiet student, and I do have some, in my class maybe Nathan is really quiet and he doesn't talk a lot or like to be called on. So for Nathan, I want to make sure I connect with Nathan either before or after class and ask him how work is going. Or, hey, how did your English essay go? Or did your math test turn out okay? And so I'm going to do something with Nathan. Then I want to make sure, Sarah is another one. She kind of flies under the radar a little bit. So I want to make sure when I get to these scenarios that I call on Sarah by name and ask her thoughts and really focus on her, make eye contact. And so praying for students by name and then considering those students that don't participate in our lessons a lot can help us make sure that we're including them. And for me, it really helps to make a note, to write down a student's name next to a particular activity. So right here with these scenarios, make a note of the teacher, of the students that you want to call on for each one of these scenarios and make sure that you're getting their thoughts. And then you've got more scenarios, and again, it gives a different methodology. Divide the class into pairs or small groups. Give each of the groups or the pairs one of the scenarios, and then invite them to discuss it, and then maybe they're ready to share with the class or present. And then another activity here is give the students time to create one or more scenarios that relate to the Doctrinal Mastery Scripture. So now they're going to come up with their own. And maybe we even would use this sheet right here and make sure that we've covered every single scripture. Hey guys, we haven't found a scripture yet for Luke 24. It's that what's a question in real life that Luke 24 can answer? And so maybe by the end of the day, we've had a variety of scenarios and we've used all of the Doctrinal Mastery references and keywords at least once. Again, teachers, thank you for everything you do, and good luck this week.